Crypto pundit Nathaniel Rothschild recently reignited the XRP price debate by stating that a $36 price target for XRP is not unrealistic. At first glance, that number may seem extreme, especially with XRP currently trading around $2.27. But according to Rothschild, it's not about blind optimism. It's about meeting key milestones first. He argues that before XRP can realistically climb to $36, it needs to break through two major price levels, $7 and $13. Let's unpack this statement. Look at how realistic these milestones are, and examine what others in the crypto space are saying about XRP's long-term potential. Let's begin with the math. For XRP to go from $2.27 to $36, it would need to rise by approximately 1,500%. That's a massive move. And if it happened today, it would result in an estimated market cap of over $2.12 trillion, the same ballpark as Bitcoin's current valuation. At that level, XRP would be worth more than Silver, Facebook, Meta, and even Saudi Aramco. These are companies and commodities that hold enormous weight in global markets. This is where the skepticism starts. Many critics question whether the crypto space, and XRP in particular, could support that kind of valuation, at least in the short term. According to Rothschild, the path to $36 doesn't come from wishful thinking. It's a step-by-step process, and the next big checkpoints are $7 and $13. These levels aren't arbitrary. They represent psychological and technical resistance zones. Breaking above $7 would signal renewed momentum, likely triggering broader media coverage and institutional interest. Climbing to $13 would confirm a serious shift in market structure, possibly a new all-time high narrative for XRP. But as of now, XRP hasn't even returned to its previous all-time high of $3.84 from January 2018. So the idea of $36 remains tied to a broader and much more bullish macro environment. A number of analysts and platforms have weighed in with their own projections. Telegon, a crypto research platform, sees $36 as a 2030 target, not this year. Their model points to slow, steady growth over the next 5 years. Bitwise, a firm known for its ETF and institutional reports, also placed XRP's ultra-bullish peak at $29 by 2030, with a more realistic 2026 target of around $6.53. If market conditions underperform, they even project a low of $1.07. Changelly goes further, projecting 2032 as the year XRP might finally hit $36. On the more aggressive side, analyst Dustin Layton predicts XRP could hit $50 this year, defying mainstream projections. Chartist eGrad Crypto sees the potential for a 2,000% rally, possibly sending XRP to $37, but also mentions $9 as a more realistic target if market patterns follow their 2017 cycle. The crypto community responded with a mix of support and doubt. One user, Tom Tomon, commented, "Nothing is unrealistic in crypto. The sky is the limit." This view reflects a sentiment familiar to long-term XRP holders, many of whom have watched the asset underperform for years but still hold faith in its long-term use case. Meanwhile, others like Angela Hammis took a more grounded approach, stating, "Let's get back to $3 first. That's a fair point. XRP hasn't held above $3 in over 6 years. For it to suddenly leap to $36, something would have to fundamentally change in terms of adoption, regulation, and institutional demand." So, is $36 for XRP unrealistic? Not necessarily, but it's definitely ambitious. Nathaniel Rothschild's view that $36 is reachable relies on a long-term view and key short-term confirmations, particularly at $7 and $13. Without breaking those levels first, any talk of $36 remains speculative. What's clear is that interest in XRP is growing again, fueled by rising transaction volumes, renewed ETF discussions, and optimism about regulatory clarity. But as always, price doesn't move on belief alone. It moves on volume, market structure, and real-world adoption. Until those elements align, even a reasonable target like $36 will remain just that, a target. Thanks for watching. Stay smart, stay patient, and let's see if XRP takes the first step toward those milestones.